I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my sponsor, Rycor Countertops. They deal in custom countertops in quartz, Corian, Meganite, laminate, and butcher block. They also have custom kitchen cabinetry, closets, laundry rooms, and millwork. They're family owned and operated for 18 years, knowledgeable and highly experienced staff, and friendly customer service. Head on over to 1069 Clark Road. Check out their showroom today. Welcome to Studio 88. Today, my special guest is Randi Field, who did that exhausting drive from Windsor just to sit and meet with me today. Randi, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
You came in. How was the drive?
It was smooth. I think I slept coming
Did you?
here. Yeah.
I wish I could sleep every time I go to Windsor.
Yeah, it was nice.
We got fights coming up June 15th, and I'm happy that you're debuting with me since you fought with me in the amateur scene. And
Yeah.
I fought really hard to try to get you on the card. And you had a upcoming fight, and I guess it got canceled,
Yeah,
so to speak.
so to speak.
Okay,
Yes.
and I got the luxury of having you. And today I just kind of wanted to just shoot the shit with you and kind of give everybody like a behind the scenes of kind of who Randi is. What got you started in MMA? Did you start from boxing, kickboxing? Like, what's the story? How did it all begin?
As a kid, I did judo for about 7 years.
I didn't know that.
I did with my dad.
Okay.
So he got me into competitions and I took gold everywhere I went. And then after I got into high school, I guess I got too cool to do an organized fight. So I turned to the streets for a little bit.
Randi Field turned to the streets. Come on. Seriously?
Yeah, for a little bit. And then after high school, you just have a lot of pressure to figure out who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. And I don't feel like I had much guidance throughout that time. And all of a sudden, I ended up stumbling into a gym in Windsor where I met Manny. And then kind of just took me under his wing and asked me if I wanted to fight. And then it all just
So how long
kinda
you been
went on.
training now?
About 5 years.
So only 5 years.
5 years,
Good
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got great hands.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what grounded you after high school? You said like you got wild in high school, but what centered you?
Actually, I ended up having my daughter when I was 21. I'd like to say and be proud and say that's what grounded me, but at that point, not yet. I will say I struggled with a little bit of an alcohol problem, more of like using it as a coping skill because, like I said, I didn't have much guidance, and I think that was the only way I kind of knew, and it gave you that endorphins of feeling like you're happy.
Yeah.
But that's not
That wasn't
real.
the case.
Yeah. So I think starting training is something that actually grounded me. And I was able to quit for 2 years. I didn't have anything at all. And I was just focused on my training. And that time we were in the gym every single day. And I think that's why over the 5 years I have gotten so well-rounded is because I've dedicated my life to it. So, yeah.
Were you always as jacked? Because you're pretty jacked. Like you've always been, like ever since I've known you, you've always been like super tip-top shape.
Yeah.
So when you kind of tell me that, you had a drinking problem before, which, God bless you and good for you for like really,
Thank you.
finding something else to focus on because people don't really see that side of things. When
Yeah.
you hear about those kind of struggles and you don't really realize because you portray such a strong and powerful woman in our community, anyways. I know you have a lot of fans and a lot of people that look up to you.
Yeah.
So it's when you hear that, you have a drinking problem, you're kind of like, oh, wow. But it goes to show that you are a human being. Right?
Yeah.
And it goes to show that, you are grounded now and everything, and you're focused. How's the training been going for June 15th?
It's been going great. And back to what you were just saying, like if you see somebody doing what we're doing, it's because we have that character. We went through what we went through, which built our character. And, I never knew how strong I was or how resilient I could be or how motivated I could be until I was put into a spot where I had to choose, do you want this life where it's going to be very rewarding, but it's hard work? Or you can take the life where you can stay where you're at, where sometimes you kind of want to jump in front of a train because you don't know where tomorrow's going to bring you. And it could be, I guess, easy for people to just fall into that. So that's something like I do want people to, I teach a women's class too, back in Windsor. So these are something I push for my girls, It's not like I want to own their lives or anything, but I want them to look at me as an example and see that what I've been through is why I am who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it doesn't define who I am anymore. That makes sense?
No, it makes total sense. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves
Mm-hmm.
when they go through those things, and
Yeah.
they think people are judgmental on it.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I don't think many people are. I think many people see people that do have struggles,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go, "Hey, you know, wow, she had those struggles, and look at her now, or look at him now that he went through all that."
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go through hell to get to heaven, and I'm a firm believer of that.
Yeah.
And like, hats off to you. Like,
Thanks.
that's you should be proud of that. That's not something you should, ever be ashamed of, because it really defines you.
Yes,
You
I'm
know.
very proud of it.
Take us to your first fight.
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
My first fight was against Greta Deering in Windsor.
I remember that fight.
Yeah.
I remember that fight at the Fogular Furlan.
Yes.
That's right. Tell us
Yeah.
about it. That was your first fight?
That was my
I
first
thought you
fight.
did a bunch of boxing before that.
I did 2 boxing matches before that. It was like 6 months into training, and they just
Okay.
kind of...
I threw you to the wolves. Greta's tough.
Yeah.
She was no slouch.
No.
Greta, if anyone don't know, Greta Deering. Shout out to Greta. She's a female cut woman, so she does all like the hand wraps.
Yes.
And she was always, Jamie, I want to fight. So I was like, okay, put her in there. Women fights are super intriguing to me because women bring a type of caliber of fight that men don't. And when I say that is men tend to have a mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fear of, getting knocked out or embarrassment. Like I'm sure it comes to play with women too, but I think women are more emotional fighters.
Absolutely.
Where it's like,
Yeah.
A man to man, it's there's apprehension
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be like you have to be more methodic with your actions, whereas the woman is like, no, man, fuck that, we're going. And then they just go, and then the best performance, and it comes out, and I just love women fights. So tell me about this Greta Deering fight.
When I was preparing for that, I was still like, you get nervous every time you walk into the cage. Almost every time I felt like, why the hell am I doing this? And then you get going, and you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing it. I love it. And then afterwards you get to hug, and it's absolutely wonderful. And it was amazing how everybody looked at me. And it wasn't even, I know Greta was a little bit older, so I was kind of like, I don't know if I want this to be my first fight, because I don't want people to think I'm picking on older.
Yeah, but remember, Greta's decorated in Taekwondo.
Absolutely.
She's been training for a long time.
Yeah.
So don't ever never judge it. You can never judge somebody by their age.
Yeah.
Because I've seen there's a lot of killers that it doesn't. They've just been around a long time. They never got the chance to showcase themselves.
Yes.
That's
yes.
all it was.
And that's with understanding the sport more as you grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my first one, that's what I felt. But then once I got in there, you feel that pressure, and everything else is just like, oh my gosh, like we're both in this together. Everybody's watching us, and we're putting on a show. And I respect her so much. And I know she fought a couple more after that too.
Yep, I remember all her fights.
Yeah.
I've been pretty much to almost everybody's fights.
She ended up wrapping my hands after that too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, she was my cut woman, so it was awesome.
Yeah, my mom was super excited that you're on the card.
I love your mom.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Like literally when I told my mom, I go, hey, I got Randi Fields on the card.
Yeah.
And she got super excited because nobody knows, but my mom works on the amateur scene. She worked in the backstages, and she sterilized and cleaned equipment and kind of got the athletes ready backstage.
Yeah.
So when I told her, she kind of had like a soft spot already for you, because she's like, she's so sweet. I can't believe she's fighting. And the mom talk, right?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, she's pro debuting with me. So she was super, super excited to hear that you were doing that.
Is she coming?
No, she's going to be
watching the
babysitting.
kids.
I don't think she knows yet, Mom. Mom, you have to babysit. Night of the fights. I hope it's cool. I'm asking you now. I'm sure it's be cool.
I'll be thinking about you, Maggie.
Yeah. But so June 15th, it's coming around the corner.
Yes.
A lot of hype. City's pretty buzzing about the fights, which makes me happy too as well.
Yeah.
And you're pro debuting in your hometown, which I know you fought in your hometown before, but this is different. Bigger
Everything's
crowd,
different.
everything's a lot different.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the pressures of that? How is it with Manny too? It's just like you both are training for a fight. You have a couple that's on a card, which is you don't really see that too often.
Yeah.
How's that? What's that like at home?
Like shift work. It's like because we have 3 kids between the two of us, and I work full time. He works full time.
What do you do for a job?
I'm a massage therapist.
Okay.
So I work full time during the week, and then he just switched actually to midnights. So at nighttime, put the kids to bed. I stay there. In the morning, we get them up, we get them ready for school. He sleeps during the day. I work during the day, and then we go train at night. We don't have time much to be dating right now, but we are a perfect team.
Do you guys fight with each other? And when I say that, I mean because of overtraining. Like you're talking about training. Like, is it one of those things like? Do you get on each other for diets or?
Absolutely.
Because you always
Yes.
wonder how the dynamics of a couple of a fighting couple. How would it be at home? Is it one of those, when you guys get in squabbles because maybe Manny didn't clean up the crumbs after making his toast in the morning? Do you guys ever have jiu-jitsu matches before?
It's so funny that you just said that, because the other night I had to miss training because of work. So I came home and we put the kids to bed and we sparred in the living room. I got probably this much space, and
Close
we
quarter
full
combats.
blown sparred. He took me down on the couch. It was
That's hilarious.
And our front door was open too. I'm like, I can't even imagine what the neighbors are thinking right now.
That's
But
amazing.
when we do even little arguments, we're both we can be level headed too, because
Yeah.
we'll say something and then we'll stew for a minute, and then you just tell yourself in your head, just stop. You're both going through this together, and you just, I'm sorry. And then you just see the relief over
Because
the
I
other
would
person's
imagine
face.
with cutting weight
Mm-hmm.
would make you guys hangry. So, you would think that emotions would be running high at home because there's pressure on both of you at the same time. Whereas you would think having, a significant other who's not fighting at the time would be there to say, kind of take the hits as it happens, and they would pick up where you can't because you're so focused on training. But now you're talking about 3 kids, 2 people working full time, training full time, gearing up to fight in a hometown. There's a lot of pressure. So I've often wondered how you guys would be, how anybody would be for that matter.
It's pretty
not just
good.
you guys, but
Yeah, nighttime, I usually prep all of our food, for
What's your
the
diet
next
like?
3 days. Same thing every day. I want to tell, everyone's asking me what I'm eating. It's rice cakes I discovered are absolutely wonderful.
rice cakes.
They're amazing.
Like flavored rice cakes or the
No.
dry Bristol board ones?
Plain. You can put avocado on top.
Yeah.
You put peanut butter. I just found 0-calorie jam. You put it on top. And then with egg whites, and we eat a lot of chicken, vegetables. It's actually, my diet hasn't changed too much.
I would
It's been the
imagine because,
easiest
like I
cut.
said, you've been pretty
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
always in shape. You're always
Yeah.
I've never seen a fat Randy.
No.
So
I
it's
mean, last year when I was injured, I went through a little point where I got a little heavier. That's emotionally eating, but it was just for maybe a couple months.
So what's the training regime like now, preparing for Amanda?
Right now, actually, a lot of mental, because I feel, and everybody else knows, I have it. If you watch me and I'm on point, I'm on point. I can wrestle, I can go to the ground, I can stand, I can do whatever you want. And I made sure to be very well-rounded over these last 5 years of training. My biggest struggle sometimes is mentally, and that's with how much time I take away from the kids, and that gets to me sometimes. But then you sit and you actually ask them how they feel about it, and they're so proud of you. So it's just
kids
kind
are
of
always
keeping that in
watching.
check. Yeah.
They're always
Yeah.
watching. I notice
Yeah.
sometimes I tend to lose my patience sometimes with my own daughter, just because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And you're trying to balance everything at the same time. Right?
Yeah.
Organizing a show's a lot of work too, right? So, and then plus full time, plus wife and family, and trying to balance to find that equal balance
Yeah.
is often very hard.
Yeah.
So sometimes I find I can get frustrated at times when I don't mean to be. But today when I left, she ran with my book. Right, so I was leaving the house, but I was trying to get out in good time because I wanted to get here early to set up. Daddy, your book. And I was like, what? And I didn't even mean to say it. And I was like, don't be an asshole, man. Take a second, because they're always watching.
Yeah. We have those drives on the way to school. It's I'm sorry I yelled at you to eat your French toast this morning, but
Yeah.
I love you. We just got to get things going. You want things to go smooth.
So how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Are you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Where do
Yeah.
you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years.
What's the plan? Is this something that the fighting things, are you going to full on pursue that?
Absolutely.
You should.
There's a video I'm watching every single day, and it's Rose Namajunas and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I hear Joe Rogan's voice in my dreams, like talking about me in the UFC, and I can see myself getting there. I have the motivation. I have everything that it takes to get there. The only thing that could ever stop you is your own mentality, and that's something that I work on every single day. In 5 years, I see myself in the UFC. Absolutely.
5 years. I hope that rings true.
Yeah.
I truly do. Because I like to see that. I like to be a part of that process, that journey, to kind of springboard people where they need to go. And I'm hopefully a big part of that. This upcoming fight.
Yeah.
You don't know much about your opponent's techniques and styles?
No.
Nothing.
Not too much.
Do you even care? Or is it one of those like, I don't care, I'm just going in to smash?
I feel like no matter what, I'll fight my fight. So if she wants to stand, I can stand. If she wants to go to the ground, I can go to the ground. Whatever she wants to do, it'll be my fight. And we probably will get fight of the night. Because we happen to do that.
You got fight of the night with me one time before.
Yeah, and I took it in the States. Last year I got nominated for Fight of the Year.
Yeah.
As an amateur against the pros, and we were the only females too.
That's exciting.
Thank you. I'm the only female on your card.
I know. I push hard. It's hard to find women, and then when the card fills up, I was trying to get Annie a fight. And you fought Annie before? Anastasia?
Oh, Anastasia. Yes, I did.
Yeah, she's fought a couple fights in Invicta, but it just didn't work out. I'm sorry. Annie, I wish I could have had her. I wish I could have more women fights, but it's not as easy as it is to find women licensed, ready to go. Some are signed different organizations.
Yeah,
So a lot of moving parts to try to make these things happen.
Yeah.
So June 15th.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
Yes.
Do you want to give any shout outs to any sponsors? Is there anybody you'd like to thank? Where can people find you? Instagram, do you know?
Yeah, my Instagram is Randi Field. Just my name. But we have our sponsors, I can't even, like right now, my head's still trying to wrap around. We're getting new ones almost every single day. It's like people just coming out and just wanting to support us and make everything so much easier. You know, we've had Penalty Box and Fred.
The Penalty Box, shout out to Penalty Box because they're actually sponsoring the event too.
Yeah, I heard that.
Incredible people.
Yes.
Very supportive. The Windsor community actually is very supportive of its own. And I'm learning that because technically I'm an outsider. I live in London. I do the travels to Windsor, and I'm finding that the whole community is literally a community, and they work together and they support each other and they show up. That's why the Windsor fight made sense to me, because it was, I was often told that, but never shown it. And when I go down and I see it, I'm like, oh wow, like this is a really, really strong community.
This is the first time we haven't had to like chase people down to get tickets. Like everyone's just coming to us. Like I think we've messaged you a bunch of times just saying we need more, and people buying tables. I'm like, oh my God, like you want to spend that much? It's like, yeah, we want to support you.
That's amazing.
And they want to be right there.
Are you coming out to Sweet Caroline?
I am not this time.
Why?
I have twice.
What was the reason of that song anyways? Because what was cool about it is the entire crowd, again, nobody understands it. The fight for Fogular Furlan, I hope I'm saying that right. It was bam, 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 the whole crowd, everybody, like as you were coming out. So I'm just curious if that's going to be another. What was the choice of that song? Weird question.
That was the choice of that song because I knew my friends would just go wild for it, and it is exactly how I pictured it.
I thought there would be like a backstory to why.
Oh no, we went. We were camping in Grand Bend. And we were tailgating, and that song came on, and the whole family was just like, everybody was just jumping around and screaming and singing that song. And I'm like, it has a feel-good vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's so weird to hear it because you're like, hold on, this is a fight, right?
Yeah.
But it's like Sweet Carolina.
Wait till you hear this one when I walk out, too. You'll probably laugh again.
I won't say what it is to everybody else, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we could probably wrap it up. Is there anything you want to... Anything you want to say to any particular sponsors or anybody?
I just want to thank everybody that we've had, like I said, Penalty Box, Fred's Farm Fresh, Armando's Pizza, Catch and Muscle, Roofing Gods, Sterling Mutuals, and I am so sorry if I forgot anybody else. You guys are all, like, I appreciate everybody so much, just making whatever we're going through easier, because I've had to take so much time off of work for medicals and to go train, or I've been sore. So it makes this all capable. It can happen.
Yeah,
So
sponsors are definitely a huge help when it comes to training, and hats off to all sponsors that step up to make athletes' lives a lot easier because of training costs and things like that.
yeah.
Well, join us June 15th at the St. Denis Center, prospectfights.com for your tickets if you haven't got them yet. We're pretty near to sold out, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too.
And thank you for coming with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully I didn't beat you up too much on it.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.